No, I'm live. And now I just need some guests. Well, hello, Drifter. How are you? Oh, it's okay. If you stay a short time, you're at least stopping in and saying hi, and I appreciate that. So, is this hurricane that's coming in going to bother you? Yeah, I forgot about that after I said that you were not in Texas. So, it's got to travel a little bit before it's going to bother you. Hey, Deb, how are you? This went so much easier than the last try at a live stream. I mean, you know, this one is just almost ridiculously easy. This is my friend, um, the Drifter, been known for quite a few other names, and this is my friend Deb. And Trainwreck is in. Hello, Trainwreck. Glad to see ya. And Trainwreck is always very polite. He always calls me Miss Jan. I think, is that an age thing, Trainwreck? And Elf Lord came in. Hey, Elf Lord. He's a big um, cruising person, also. I know. My grandmother clock is bonging. We'll wait just a little bit longer and then we'll continue with this. Um, it seems like this is a good year to not be going out cruising. I would hate to mess up with everything that's been going out in the Caribbean, and now we have hurricanes here, and it's just I've been on a bad cruise, and they are not fun. I mean, I wasn't frightened or anything, but about half the ship and half the staff was down with seasickness. Oh, thank you for the reminder, Elf Lord. So everybody, please give me a thumbs up. And I'm nervous, so yeah, I'm doing a lot of this. I gotta quit that. I put both my feet on the ground, and then I won't do that. And I want to show you my top, which you can't see here, but I will get up. Do you see that? It's Adam's Van Adventures. And this was my one of my Christmas gifts from my son-in-law. And he always gives the most thoughtful gifts. He gives me a gift, my daughter gives me a gift, and then their family gives me a gift. So that's pretty good. And I saved it because, yeah, I'm kind of a slob and I didn't want to have it already ruined. before I wore it the first time. Hi, Rosie. How are you? Well, I guess we can start now. It's very important when you're going to be going cruising to have a passport. That's your number one thing. And it's you should have an actual passport, not that one that's for 5 years or whatever it is. I don't know. I got the 10-year one that um, is good for 10 years. And the reason is if you go out and on an island and you miss your ship, they will not take anything to get back into the United States from an airport because that's what you're going to have to use now because you missed your ship. They won't take anything but a 10-year passport. Oh, I'll give you the bad stuff. And there's not a lot of bad stuff, but that's one that's very, very important. Before you even get on the ship, make sure you got your passport with you. Not a birth certificate, a passport. And make sure you keep it with you at all times, even when you go off the ship. Take your passport with you because you may miss that ship. You don't want your passport to be on the ship and you on an island. It does happen, Rosie, that your passport can get stolen. However, you can go to a embassy and have one issued right away. And the cruise ship will definitely help you get that accomplished. I mean, they are really, really good about helping people. Um, we met a guy. Yeah, you can keep it in your safe on the ship while you're on the ship, but you need to have it with you when you go off the ship and someplace where it's not going to be easily stolen, like out of your back pocket or something like that. Hi, line screw. Yeah, wherever you are, keep it with you. That's your ticket out. Um, there was a man we met. He was across the hall from us, and he was running down the hall. You could tell he was visibly upset, and he said, "I just got a telephone call um, to come up to the captain's office," and he said, "My mother died." And I said, "Oh, is there anything we can do?" He said, "No, the ship is handling everything. We don't have to worry about it." So, they do care for their passengers and do as much as they can to help you, particularly when things are hit the fan, so to speak. Rosie, we have never met a pickpocket, but then again, we're very careful. Like, I wear a fanny pack, and not only do I clip it closed, I pin it onto my pants. And so nobody's ever even tried. And the thing is, if an island gets a reputation and a bad reputation for pickpockets, thieves, people that want to kill you, the cruise ship just won't go in there. And that is just absolutely too much money for that country to do without because they figure that every cruise ship brings in $1 million. And that's a heck of a lot of money. Now, they ain't getting no $1 million from me because, yeah, we don't have it. But the other thing you need to make a thought about is to what ship you're going to get on. Now, we go on Carnival. We love Carnival. It's called the Fun Ship. And it's mostly for younger people. Yeah, do we look young? No. But in January, February, sometimes March, just depends. Hi, Irene. They um, they have seniors on board, and there's very few young people on board. There may be some, but not many. Now, the Holland America ships are known as old people ships. They will have a few kids on. No, and no, they don't seem packed, Rosie. Um, but we don't go on the really big ships. Carnival is about 3 to 4,000 people, and it has maybe half that. We've been on a Carnival ship that only had half that, and we got on cheap because they only had half the people on board. Um, we went on a Holland America. Let me tell you, we were the youngsters there. Does that tell you something? Yeah, it was that bad. Um, People mowed you over with their scooters, but it was okay. I think there was less than 2,000 of us on board because we were going through the Panama Canal, and the ship can only be a certain size to get through the canal. Yes, we can be last minute cruisers. We aren't necessarily all the time a last minute cruiser. Last minute cruisers we get really, really good prices on. Bye, Drifter. Thanks for stopping by. Um, we paid for our first last minute cruise, we paid $35 a day per person. And by the time you finished with all the things that you had to pay for, we ended up less than $100 a day for the two of us, which we thought was excellent. And it was about, well, that particular cruise was 21 days. My favorite ship is Carnival. I like Carnival. I do know that Elf Lord likes Princess, and it just depends upon what you want. There's not a right or a wrong. You know, Carnival ships are normally the cheapest one for you to do, but something you don't know is Carnival owns most of the cruise lines. Not all of them, but they own 10 of them. And, you just have to figure out which one. We got the Holland America cruise, and it was $45 a day per person. And it was a 15-day cruise through the Panama Canal. And the cost that you had to pay for extra was the cost of going through the Panama Canal, which was $167 a person. About blew my mind, but it was a cruise that we really wanted to take, and it was the most awesome cruise we ever took. Hi, Harvey. Thank you for coming in. Sometimes Elf Lord, they do that. Carnival, not so much, but they may give you like $25 on board credit so you can buy something special. And it just depends what you want. We like Carnival, but maybe we like Carnival because that was the first cruise we had ever been on. And we took a 5-day cruise because my daughter tends to turn green with seasickness, and we didn't want to be out any longer than 5 days with her. But she did fine, and we tend to be cheap because we want to stay home and we do nothing at home. So we don't need anything super duper when we go out. Give us a nice clean bed. We do on Carnival like the first and second floors because we get 2 bathrooms. And I like that. They can rock. The last cruise we were on, oh, it was bad, Rosie. We could, I think, see the bottom of the ocean. But here's a nice thought for you. Here's the ocean, and it's going like this. And here's your cruise ship, and it's going like this. Now, the further up you are, the worse it is. And the one closer you are to the ocean, the less you move. So we always try one or two, and we have not had any problems. Even in that horrible storm we had this last time, we didn't have any problems. Bruce or I, we were not sick. How many cruises have we been on? Well, I think it's 23, 24, something like that. 20, Bruce agrees, 23 or 24 cruises. If you can get the cheap ones, they are cheaper than getting a motel in Florida. And then you get to go and see things that you wouldn't, I can't swim that far. So, yeah, I think it's much better to be able to take a cruise. You get wonderful meals. The staff is absolutely awesome to you if you treat them awesome also. And I try to give them the least amount of problems I can. I get up in the morning and I make the bed. It's a habit. Bruce says, you don't have to make it. I said, I don't care. It's just a habit. I just want to do it up. Well, guess what? They do it again. Um, we we try to be very courteous to the staff, and they pay us back by being very courteous for us. What is the greatest and worst thing about cruising? Worst thing is bad weather, and there's nothing you can do about that. And you could miss an island because they can't get into that port. And people will say, oh, well, I'm going to sue. They can't sue for the weather, they don't have any control over it. Um, the greatest thing about cruising is just being out there cruising, seeing different islands. Um, I really like that. We don't pay for extra things like massages. We don't bring, we don't have their pop. We don't, well, neither Bruce or I drink, so we don't have drinks. We don't have beers. However, you are allowed to bring pop with you, 1 case per person. I can't tell you about beer because, truthfully, I don't know. I know you can bring liquor on board with you, 1 bottle per person. Cigarettes, you can bring, a, a, I think you can bring a carton with you. Now, those things are, that's not what we do. We don't smoke, we don't drink. Um, we don't even bring the pop on board because, at least on Carnival, they have, yes, they make big money on drinks. And let me tell you how that is. If you order a pop coupon that pays for your pop for the whole cruise, that is, I'm trying to think, $25 a day, but it's per person in your room, whether they drink pop or not. Because, they could, well, just give me 1 bottle. They will never know. So, yeah. So they got $25 a day per person in your room for pop. Now, if you want beer, that's $65 a day per person in your room. So that's quite expensive. And they have water and they have iced tea and they have absolutely the yummiest lemonade. You know, it's got pucker power, and that's the way I like it. They have hot coffee, they have hot tea. Um, yeah, $65 a day for beer. And then, even then, you're limited on how many beers you can have. It's not completely unlimited, but most people never hit the number of beers for the day. Um, One of the things we have found is on our first cruise, which my my daughter and her son-in-law arranged, and we went with them, except we had separate rooms. We met in Galveston. No, we wasn't Galveston. Tech. It was where? Jacksonville. We met in Jacksonville to get on the ship. Well, it said we should be there by 2. Well, it was 12, and we weren't going to be able to wait till 2 to eat. So we went out to a restaurant and we ate. And when we got to the ship, it was packed with people, just packed. And when you get finished getting all your paperwork done and you go through the line and they ask you, do you want your picture taken? Our daughter says to him, oh, yeah, that's just what we want to do. We've been here for an hour in this heat, and the last thing we want is to have our picture taken. So we went up and we found out we could have had lunch on board the ship and we wouldn't have had to pay for it. The only bad thing about a ship is just about anything extra you want to do costs you, you know, um, like the private tour of the ship, that costs you extra. And so we haven't done that yet. You know, we were trying to be as economy wise as we could be. Now, Elf Lord, I know you have gone. Is it just Princess you've been to, or have you been to um, other ships? Now we are high enough up on our Carnival cruises. Okay, only Princess, that we get sometimes a whole free um, cruise. Rosie, we don't gamble, so I have no idea about the gambling, but everybody seems to go down there and hang out and gamble, so they might be loose slots. I don't know. Okay, Irene's been at the Norwegian Princess. Uh, we don't gamble. I like to watch people gamble their money away because that's how the cruise ships pay for their cruises: the gambling and the drinking. And if they didn't have those, they'd be out of business.
Tell them about the secret in the casino.
Bruce is here whispering in my ear. One of the things, and sometimes you get on, and we got on one time and we got a $200 onboard credit. So, you know, you can go and eat in different restaurants that are pay restaurants. You can go buy different items. I bought a lot of food, a lot of food. I bought a lot of clothing at one because they had gotten clothing that was destined for one of the ships and it came to the wrong ship. So they were selling it off relatively cheap. And it was nice things. They have a doctor on board, they have a nurse, they have um, all kinds of different people to help you. And, they have x ray machines. Like if you would break a bone, they can have the Coast Guard fly you off. Um, if you're lucky, and that depends upon the weather and where they are. Like if you go to um, some of the islands, they're very small and they don't have super duper doctors or nurses. And depending upon what you have, they can't take care of it. So they're going to have to fly you back to the States. So you have to make sure you buy the medical insurance because that can run you $30,000, $40,000 to be flown back to the States. Hi, Wolf Dad. How are you? Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I love it. My favorite port of call, well, I'm going to have to tell you, it's Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. The people there are just so friendly and they're very clean islands and you can walk anywhere and not be afraid because they know if they upset the tourist, they are sunk. They can't grow a thing. They have 364 days of sunshine. You think they can grow a garden? No. Just about everything is flown in or brought in by ship for them. So they know to take good care of their guests, and the guests will take good care of them. Um, I'm trying to think what other I like. I like just about all of the islands except for the Jamaica. I am Bruce and Heather. They like Jamaica. I I just don't like Jamaica at all. How much is the medical insurance, Lucky? I do not know. I know it's a lot cheaper than paying for it coming back by them getting you because you pay for every part of it. You pay for the Coast Guard to come get you. Excuse me, to come get you and fly you into an island, and then you pay for the medevac to take you from that island to home. So it gets very expensive. I don't think it's any more than $150 a person. The turnoff of Jamaica, well, it's a third world country, number one. And it's a third world country in the worst aspects of being a third world country. And they want to sell you drugs. And no matter how much you tell them no, they'll still bug you. And guess what happens to you if you buy? Yeah, they got a cop at the corner that's going to put you in the hoose cow. Yeah, they. It's just not. It's just not for me, you know. And you say no, and then 2 minutes later they're back, and you say no, and they're back again, and I'll say, "What part of no did you not understand?" And you hate to be mean because these people were just desperate for money. And, you know, that's not my fault, but I can't support them or their country. Elf Lord, I use the travel insurance that is provided by Carnival. I found it was probably no more than $100. And we're talking $100 for a 14 to 21 day cruise. Always drugs they try to sell you, mostly. And these are the guys that are out on the streets. These are not the guys that have shops and stores and little cabanas to sell things out of. These are just the street vendors walking around. And we just tell them no, no, we're not interested. And Bruce has, he buys socks from every country. And then he makes sure when he goes to that country, he will put on those socks and they get a big kick out of that. They think that's so funny that there he is with Jamaican socks or Barbados socks or Aruba socks or wherever we've been, he's got a pair of socks for it. And they just think that's the funniest thing. Yeah, Jamaica had a lot of hand carved items. Um, Bahamas has a lot of hand carved items. And most islands do. Some are a little bit more elaborate than others. Rosie, we do not eat when we're out most of the time. The No, it's authentic food that we've had wherever we have gone to eat. And most of the time it's we eat in Cozumel. Um, while it's Mexico, it's a little island off the mainland of Mexico. And they speak English and they love the tourists. And one of the things I want to tell you about is taxi cabs. You need to know how much a taxi cab is, which is obvious, but they'll tell you, oh, it's $8. Well, it might be $8 a person, might be $8 for two people, or it could be $8 for a cab full. So then that brings your cost down to about $4. So it's always, they'll tell you on the board ship, in this particular country, like Cozumel, to go from the terminal to the main square for shopping, it's $8. But if four of you go, it's a whole heck of a lot cheaper, obviously. And then coming back, same thing, $8 to come back, a person. Well, not a person. Um, it's $8 for the taxi cab. So for Bruce and I to go, it's $4 a person. And if you get somebody else to go with you, it's a lot cheaper. Yeah, don't go to Senor Frogs. That's an Americanism, and we don't like to do that. We like to go and get as authentic as we can get. Rosie, I've been in Mexico many, many, many times, and the vendors in the straw market in Nassau are no worse than any of them. They, you got to understand, these people depend on those sales to make their money, and that's all they have. And so, of course, they're going to be extremely aggressive. But if you say no, don't look at their items and just walk on, they won't bother you. And I've never had any problems in Nassau. And I know what I'm looking for. And I can go through that whole straw market, which is a huge place. I can go through the whole thing in 15 minutes because I know specifically what I'm looking for. And if they don't have it, I won't see it out there. Yeah, exactly. Don't touch anything, or they'll already have it in the bag with their hand out to ask for money. You know, just be very, very Well, you're kind of going to have to say snooty, you know, because you just have no idea how poor these people are. And it kind of breaks your heart. But you can't support everybody, you know. But by buying stuff, and you are expected to also um, finagle on the prices. And they'll let you know when you've gone as low as you they can go to make money. And the funny thing is, in the straw market, just about every one of those booths are owned by the same guy. And he just has all these booths with normally ladies taking care of them. They must be in horrible shape, Rosie, with no trade. One of the things we had is on a carnival cruise, we came into St. Martin. Oh, I'm losing my voice. Hold on. We came into St. Martin. They had carnival ships into port, but those carnival ships were bringing in rebuilding supplies for them. And I think they did that for about 3 months after a hurricane. And when we came in, we were the first ship, not just Carnival, the first ship in port with cruisers. And they were so happy to see us. They had bands meeting us at the wharf, they had dignitaries there, they had all kinds of people clapping their hands, telling us welcome because they had had no money in that amount of time. So, you know, they really depend on us. Now, what can you get out when you're shopping? Just about anything and everything. Yeah, all the ports have the same things. Absolutely. Although they may be handmade, I know the straw purses are handmade, not the purse itself, but the stitching that they put on, like, you know, um, that says Nassau or um, has a doll on it or something. They do that. But the purse itself, no, no. Rosie, I don't even know how they're getting by now. I really don't. Because I know how it was after that hurricane. And they were only closed down for about 3 months. And they, yeah, they were so happy to see us. And we were happy to see them too. And I'll tell you what happened. The St. Martin is half and half. Hi, Brad. How are you? Half and half. Half of the island is Dutch, and half the island is French. Well, the last time we were there, it ran us $80. The first time we were there, it ran us $80 to take a tour and go to the French side. When we came back after the hurricane, it was $40 for the same tour. But we wanted to see what the French side looked like, and it was horrible. I mean, the Dutch side had been pretty well smashed up, but they did a pretty good job getting it ready for ships because that's where their money comes from. And the French side, it was still the whole front waterfront completely ruined, and they had not done any problems. No, no repairs, nothing. They didn't even have stuff in yet. That was sad. Hi, tribe. And I did buy a few things there. They had a few ladies out there that had things that they had made. And I bought a doll, a very small doll, and it was like a Caribbean woman, but it was a um, pincushion. And so when we got back, I gave that pincushion to Drew for his sewing. He kind of liked it, you know. Yeah, she's been in here. No, I have enough to do just with the things that I'm doing here, Tribe, without doing TikTok. I don't do Twitter. I don't tweet. I don't. I don't do any of that. Um, I have Facebook, but actually, I don't keep up with that at all. I'm just, you know, I do my own thing. Now, I'll tell you some tricks about going on board ship. When you get a hotel, and I would advise you getting a hotel because then if you have come down in your car, the hotel is responsible for your vehicle. Some of them, Bruce shops around, and then we leave our car there, and they will take you to the port and pick you up after your ship comes in for free. Hi, CJT, nice to see you. And then, you can get 3 weeks for free. You don't have to pay for parking. And the parking down at Carnival Wharf is sometimes $20 a day. I'm cheap. I'm not paying that.
More than pays for it.
That more than pays for the hotel. And then when you get that and you get down there, when you get off the shuttle, you get your suitcase, and they have dollies there that you can, and porters, and they'll take your suitcases and put them on the dolly to take into the ship, and you don't have to mess with that. A lot of people take their suitcases with them. That's a pain in the butt. We take our very small suitcase, our medical bag, cameras, and our computers with us, and that's all we have until they deliver the bags. And they will get them. You figure they got about 4,000 people on ship, and they got to deliver suitcases to them all. So it may be late at night before you get it, but you'll get it. I think our first trip, everybody got their suitcases except my granddaughter, and she was getting really upset when it did finally come. The staff, the steward, he says, "We'll make sure you get it. Don't cry." He says, "We'll get it. We'll find it." Let's see. No, no. The ones that are loading right now they're not real time. They were our last trip. I have other ones that will be coming out because, of course, we are not leaving, and they will be from prior years. But I'd let you know. I always put the date on them, and so you know whether they're never live. I don't ever do live except for here. This is my well, it's not my first live, but it's my first live since they've redone the whole program, and I like it so much better. It's so much easier. Um, and then what we do is we get there early because we're a platinum member of Carnival, and so we the highest one that's up there is Diamond on Carnival, and we're the next one down, which means we get to go on the ship earlier. That's one of our bonus things. And we get on the ship earlier than everybody else. And then we go to our room and we dump off everything that we've carried on board with us. And then we go up and eat. And by the time we get finished eating, and then we run around the ship to see what's out there and where everything is. Like most ships are exactly the same, but they tweak them sometimes. And so it's nice to be um, looking around to see what's going on. And then we go back to our room. I mean, you can't gamble or watch anybody gambling because those aren't open. They're not open until you go on the high seas. So that's why I suggest when you go, get a motel room, let them watch your car for you, let them take you down to the terminal. Because let me tell you, those terminals are a zoo because just about every ship comes in on Saturday. And you have Carnival, you've got Holland America, at Disney. Um, there's lots more of them that are there, and there's more than one ship because they're going to all kinds of different ports. So there could be 6 Carnival ships in, and there's always 2 or 3 Disney ships in, and so it's good to let them do the driving, so to speak. And then we get up, we walk around the ship, and then um, the thing that everybody hates is your safety instructions. And they're getting better at it now. Then they'll make you stand out on the port and give you your instructions. And then if they feel like you haven't paid attention, they'll do it again. So now what they do is they put you in like the dining room and lounges and any place that will hold a lot of people, and they'll run through the whole thing with you. And you get to sit down. I don't know about you, but I don't hear real good when my feet are hurting. Oh, congratulations, Elf Lord. You're platinum now too. Wonderful. And when will we be getting back to cruising? Uh, the last I heard is it could be 2023. That's their worst case scenario. Thank you for stopping in, Harvey. Appreciate it. And one of the nice things is, um, if you can get that cheap cruise for $45 a person, but even if you don't, a regular cruise is only like maybe $100 a person. Yeah, but you have to have 2 people in your room. Um, that's how they have it figured out. And if you don't have 2 people, you get to pay for 2, whether they are with you or not. They have very few single person rooms. They have a few, but not very many, and they go fast. And um, when you get your suitcases, unload your suitcase, put it away. They have cabinets, they have drawers, they have closets. Put it all away so that you have an empty suitcase there. And it took me quite a few cruises before I figured out we could put our suitcase under our bed. Yeah, that's what that big space is for, is to put your suitcase under there. Well, I think they could be bankrupt by 2023. I think they're hoping for 2021 to get out. But, it's going to be difficult because they're going to be testing you everywhere. And you sure don't want to have a fever or you're going to be, you know, stuck in a room. Bye, Wolf Dad. Thank you for stopping by. It's appreciated. You have showers, and because we have two bathrooms, we have one bathroom with a shower, and we have one bathroom with a bathtub and a shower. So it keeps everybody happy. And they provide the soap and they provide the shampoo. Now, that's what they used to do. Whether they are still going to do that, I don't know. I mean, they used to give you a little chocolate at night. They'd come in and turn down your bed and put chocolate there. Yeah, they don't do that anymore. I said, well, just put another certain amount of money on my bill and give me my chocolate. But, they got to do that. That was one thing they cut out. And for the whole fleet, they saved $336,000 by doing away with the chocolate, which that's for a whole year, of course, but still, that's very pricey. Yeah, I don't know that I will be taking any trips either. We're hoping we can get across the border at some point to see his family. But, it seems like Canada is a little bit more strict than the US is. They don't want us. And I don't know how many people even, I will not be getting the vaccine. I can't. I have no immune system, which you would say, oh, well, then you really should have a vaccine. Well, the problem is when you don't have a spleen, you don't have the immune system to build up the antibodies. So that's a no no. So, I have definitely got to do herd safety. And, you know, Bruce don't want me getting sick. I don't want to get sick. But I was hoping, I have one person that I was kind of hoping was going to come in, and he has knowledge of the ship because he is an engineer on a cruise ship. And he said if he was able to, he would come in. But he also is doing a live stream. So, if he can't, that's fine. I understand. Bye, Brad. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciated it. Um, I think I didn't get as much done as I wanted because there was a lot of questions. And Hi, Jalen. It, you know, we can do this again another time. Um, some of the islands, their ports, they need what they call tenders, and that's a little boat that goes out and meets your ship, and they'll hold about 300 people, and they'll take you into the island. And of course, you know our luck. We even had one of those break down, and we're just floating around out in the ocean, and they sent another tender over to rescue us and then take us back to the ship so that we could get in the cruise ship. But it was funny. It's like, oh, yeah, yeah, of course, it would happen. It happens to us. I mean, nothing is unusual for us, so we just kind of flow with it because we've had all kinds of crap happen to us. Thanks for stopping by, Rosie. It's appreciated.
Part of the fun of the trip.
Yeah, it's part of the fun, you know. Oh, really? No, they don't bother me at all. And one of the things, I'm sure Princess has it, but I know that Carnival has it. They have their own private island. Well, Carnival and Holland share it. And they take you from your ship to this private island that is just like you have died and gone to heaven. And they will bring the food and the drink along with them. They will have a cookout, and they'll have hamburgers and hot dogs and chicken and fish, and they'll have potato salad, coleslaw, um, other picnic type things, and they have lemonade and iced tea. And I'm, and you get to go swimming in that crystal blue water. And if you saw my last video of the island, which was Half Moon Cay, that's what the islands are like for their private islands. Now, not every cruise goes to the private islands. Some of them, they'll go to a place that's an island that has such wonderful um, facilities for you. You don't need a private island. Um, we go to one,
Turks and Caicos.
Turks and Caicos, Grand Coke, Grand Turk, and it's just you can practically get right off the ship and jump into the. I got a fruit fly flying around me, um, and I practically jump off there, except they don't want you to. But I mean, it's beautiful,
Beach is right
and the beach is right there for you. And have we gone swimming?
there.
No. Shh. Don't tell anybody. We're old. Old people in bathing suits, not pretty sight. So, but there's enough to see on that island. You know, John Glenn splashed down on that island. And so they got a little section for that. Christopher Columbus came to that island. So they have a little section for that. I mean, there's always stuff you can see on an island that's free. It doesn't cost you anything. I don't want to be down, particularly in steerage. I'm hoping that I'm not on a Titanic type of thing. A Poseidon would be okay since I'm down on decks one and two. So if it flips over, I'm going to be up in the air. I'm not going to be down there drowning, you know. Um, Not very many cruise ships really do that, particularly if they have a captain that is diligent. Let's just put it that way. Um, but in case you didn't know, tribe, Bruce had a great aunt who went down on a ship from Canada to England, and it was the worst maritime disaster in Canada. And in this great scheme of things, they lost more than the Titanic because in 15 minutes it was sitting on the bottom of the ocean, well, river. And um, it was it was horrendous. I mean, they had more people die than on the Titanic. No, it wasn't his sister. It was his aunt,
My grandmother's
his
sister.
grandmother's sister, and they never found her.
She was 14.
Hi, Gerald. How are you? Glad to see you. And the girl was only 14 years old. Never found her or her companion, which was an aunt, that was taking her on this cruise um, because of her health. Well, I think she got over her TB, don't you?
As the Empress of Ireland.
And it was called the Empress of Ireland. Bruce is that old. He is older than me, believe it or not. Now, Gerald is Gerald is works on a cruise line, and needless to say, at this point, he is not working. Okay, I think it's time that we go because we seem to have an idiot in here. And I will find out who they are, and they will be permanently banned. So I'm going to end this stream now. Hi, Lake Shadow. Sorry, we happen to have an idiot in here tonight. And I will find out who they are, and I will permanently ban them. And when I permanently ban somebody, it's just not for this uh, live stream. It is for everything, and I will never unban you. Thank you for coming, all of you, and I appreciate it very much.